Welcome to Life Transformation Radio. This show is all about life transformations and our journey from where we were to why we are doing what we are doing today. We will discuss the hiccups, the roller coasters, and the blood, sweat, and tears that has been poured out while discovering our purpose. It is all about our transformations. Here is your host, Sean Douglas.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to another episode of Life Transformation Radio. I am your host, Master Resilience Implementer, TEDx speaker, business positioning strategist, and international best-selling author, Sean Douglas. This show is currently heard in over 90 countries. So whether it's your first time joining us or you've been listening to us for some time, I want to thank you to those who are listening from around the world. Life Transformation Radio is all about our transformation. Here, we tell the stories of why we're doing what we're doing, highlighting that transformational moment that changed our lives, and how we use it to then transform others and elevate their lives as well. You can listen to us live right here on the Blog Talk Radio Network, Tuesday through Friday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You can join our Facebook group. Go ahead and search for Life Transformation Radio Community right there on Facebook. Join our Facebook group. And also, please subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast platform. You can hear it on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spreaker, Spotify, TuneIn, Player FM, Radio Public, Overcast, CastBox, Himalaya app, Google Podcasts, Pandora, and, of course, on YouTube at Life Transformation Radio. My guests are entrepreneurs, speakers, business owners, coaches, podcasters, authors, and other amazing people who are impacting everyone around them. And my guest today has done exactly that. If you have any questions for any of the guests that I bring on the show during our live broadcast, go ahead and give us a call at 657-383-1109. Again, the number is 657-383-1109. And with that, please help me welcome to the show my amazing guest for today, Dr. Serena Patterson. Serena, welcome to Life Transformation Radio.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I am super excited to bring you on the show today. We had just launched your amazing book, Break Free, Heal Wounds, and I'm super excited for all of the success that you've had so far. #1 new release, #1 in your category. So I am super excited. So, I'm
yes.
just honored to have you on the show right now.
Yes, and I am honored to be on the show with you as well, and I'm super, super, super excited. I mean, yesterday I was jumping up for joy. I was so, so happy. I mean, I'm still trying to come down off of it all. It's all like an overnight thing, but I'm still coming down off of it, and I'm so excited.
I love that it started kind of this, I want to put this book out. I want to do that. We got it through social media. And I said, you got a powerful story. We got to launch it. You have such an amazing story that we're going to dig into.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so relevant to what's going on right now with mental health, disabilities, and everything on the rise, suicides on the rise. And there was some statistics that I was looking at, and what happened with everybody on the lockdown is kids that depend on school lunches because they come from a not so great household, like family or whatever, are not getting the meals. So schools had to come up with a lunch program for the kids who are doing virtual school. The domestic violence rates have increased because families are stuck in the same house, and their only reprieve from abuse was work and school. And now that everybody's stuck home, domestic violence has increased. Suicides have increased because people can't see their families. They're told to stay home. But, we have to get out. We long to belong. Going and seeing your friends and hanging out and talking. And so many people got on Zoom one time that Zoom crashed. It couldn't handle it. So that was something else that came of it. So, with everything going on this year, I think your book is a real refresher. And when people read that, they're going to find ways to overcome some of those obstacles and battles that they're facing right now.
Exactly, exactly. I do agree. And I was just speaking about some of that too earlier with me and my uncle. We was just talking about that on the phone about how, like you said, like right now is the time, 2020, where it's kind of like life, a lot of things slow down. We was, kind of out here in the world where we were on social media. Everybody was going, like that what is it, the rat that's in the maze, and he's constantly going,
Oh, yeah.
going. But it was like 2020 hit, and it was a slowdown, and it's kind of like, this is what my book is about, is looking within, looking from within your inside and really slowing down and seeing what it is, what do you want out of life. So yes, I believe you 100%. This is like 2020. It was a whirlwind for all of us in America, across the world.
Yep.
But at the same time, like you said, it was a time to reflect, to kind of sit back and look within and what really matters to you.
100%. Yep, I absolutely agree. The title of this episode is Break Free, Heal Wounds with author Dr. Serena Patterson. Dr. Serena Patterson believes in living life to the fullest with joy, peace, and happiness from inside out. She holds a degree in education and from Argosy University, a bachelor's degree in social work, Austin P. State University, and master's degree in teaching and learning, Ashford University. She has worked with the Department of Family Children Services in Atlanta, Georgia, and Family Advocacy and Behavioral Health for the military. Dr. Patterson worked with families in foster care, group homes, juveniles justice system, domestic violence shelters, and soldiers in a suicidal intensive outpatient program. Many of her clients suffered from a lack of self-awareness, understanding of where their happiness lies, and who they are. Some suffered from domestic violence, borderline personality disorders, generalized anxiety, and depression. Dr. Patterson is a certified life mastery consultant through Mary Morrissey Life Master Institute. Currently, she is a member of the International Coaching Federation and member of a local ICF Heartland chapter. She conducts career seminars and workshops, giving students a guide to finding their dream job upon graduation based on their skills and abilities. She walks clients through step-by-step Break Free, Heal Your Wounds program. Dr. Patterson's proven 90-day Dream Builders program is a system that will transform your life. Her new best-selling book, Break Free, Heal Wounds, is available on Amazon. Go ahead and click on the Amazon link right there that's highlighted. And you can click on Facebook, click on her website, check her out, see what she's up to. And if you want her on your show, please reach out to her from her website, Facebook, or any other social media. After reading all that, I got to know, what is your why? Why do you do what you do?
Wow, wow. Yes, that was a lot in a mouthful right there. Reading, just having you reading all that, I didn't even realize, like, I was going back, reliving a lot of things that I did in life, and it's amazing. But to your question, my why, and I would say what my why is and why I am here, it stems from a combination of many things that brought me to this point. But definitely my why was at a point where I was literally broken, meaning like literally I was finding myself like looking around and blaming everyone else or blaming a lot of different situations in my life. And then I had to really think about it. And I'm not going to say I had to, but things put me in a place where I had to sit down and revamp my life, really understand what is my reason, why am I here? I can't be here just to be constantly worried about maybe I'm hurt or somebody did this to me or my life was just, I got a bad end of the stick based on where I came from. Like that just could not be it. Like it had to be something. So going through like domestic violence, but more on the psychological piece of verbal abusive, and growing up with some dysfunctional, could be verbal abuse as well. So my why just stems from all of the experiences that I went through and realizing that it's more to life than just this. Like this is not the way life is or should
Mm-hmm.
be. So
Right.
yes, my why just came out of my brokenness, being broken, and then learning to accept that we are vulnerable, we are human, we are not supposed to be invincible. I mean, a lot of us walking around here, even myself, I walked around like Superman, like or Superwoman, like I had to wear a
Mm-hmm.
cape at all times, and even doing that, it put me in a place where I couldn't accept or get the help that I would need. By being, the strong one. And then it's like if you're strong, people is looking at you like, oh, you don't need help. So so my why came out of my brokenness. And feeling like, it was just me against the world when really it wasn't me against the world, just really me learning to accept my weaknesses and dealing with those and still moving forward.
Yes. Yes. Growing up, there was a lot that I had to deal with, and I part of the coping mechanism was just to bury it and not talk
Mhm.
about it and not tell anybody about it.
Right.
In order to get past the bad things that were happening in my life, I needed to go back to my childhood and accept it.
Mhm.
Acceptance is so tough. It doesn't
Right. And
mean
it's
that it was right. It doesn't mean that
exact.
you that it's okay. It doesn't mean that you have to like what happened. It just means that you have to accept what happened. And I
Mhm.
believe it's the last stage in grief, if I'm not mistaken, is acceptance.
Mhm.
Accepting that it happened and then doing something to make sure that it either doesn't happen again or making the change to how you respond to it. That's something I had to learn.
Exactly. Same here. Yeah, yeah, same here. And I was just talking about earlier about that. We sometimes like the things we don't want to, the fear that we and the things you don't, like you said, you had to go back to your childhood. It's those things that we feel like I don't want to touch. I don't want to go back. And I understand that there's some people, and I've worked, like I said, I worked in foster care, so there are some children that grew up in a childhood that was so traumatic, so devastating that there's no way they can really go back or they can't go back, because of the trauma, how bad it is, and things like that. But some of us has to look back, and I have a section in my book where I talk about that, my rear view mirror. And there is a time where you have to go back in that rear view mirror. If you're feeling yourself stuck, you're constantly stuck and you're doing the same thing over and over, maybe it's a lesson you're missing, or an experience that you're not willing to accept, like, hey, this is me, what I need to do, like you said, to change, or what can I do better to not let that happen to get to me again, or not even to me, but to my family, my generation, like my children. I don't want them to go through, some of the things. You can't stop everything. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be able to stop all the bad from it, but at least you'll know, okay, this particular thing, I can move forward, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah. Yeah, I know how that is. And it was something that I thought a lot about when I became a parent myself. I'm like, man, I really hope I don't turn out like them or him or whatever. I just
Hmm.
man, I just really hope that I can break the cycle. And they always say that the first part of solving a problem is recognizing that there is one.
Exactly.
And
Right.
and a lot of people don't want to do that because there's a little self inward self reflection, and people don't want to feel like they're wrong or the cause of problems, or they don't want to put the blame on themselves. It's not that they don't want to be accountable to those. It's just they don't want to feel like I'm the issue, I'm the problem.
Right, exactly. And then too, like
Yeah.
even for myself, even for like me, sometimes you don't even know you're the problem. Like you really truly don't have that sense with like that, that sense that it's you. I read it somewhere. I can't even remember the book or if I saw it somewhere, but it was mentioned because I did this, and many of people that come through my path that walk with me, even the people I counseled, that came through, that I work with, this the thing that I read, and I hope I say this correct, but it was basically they said that many people know, like what I'm saying, a lot of people know they know. Like they know, like if you talk to people, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I know that. Oh, I already know that. So they know, and that's it. Many people, like even in my book, everything I speak about, everybody, this. A lot of people know it, but it states that few people do it, and that's the
Yes.
few. You see what I'm saying? So we know a lot. We know what's right. We know what we shouldn't do, but none of us take the time to do it. To actually say, like for instance, none of us take the time to look in with ourselves to say, what is our weaknesses? What is hindering me? What is stopping me? We're quick to blame it out and be like, oh, it's so and so fault. Oh, this is why I can't get up, or this is why I can't do X, Y, and Z. It's because of this, or it's because I came out of this, domestic violence, or it's my husband. He treated me this way. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of learning, like you said, that self acceptance is very, very important, because learning to accept who you are, even the weakness, even your bad, even your negative and your positive, but learning to accept it all so that you can make a change. But if you're not able to accept but one part of you, and like I put it that in my book too, there's two coins to there's two sides to a coin. So even with you have a negative and a positive. We're not all just good, and when what I'm saying, that all good is not just going to happen. Bad things still happen to good people.
Sure they do. Yeah, absolutely they do.
Yeah,
And people take it personal sometimes.
right.
And I feel like I feel it's like it's the energy that you put out that makes the difference.
Mm.
Right? I heard in an emotional intelligence seminar that I was at, love and emotional intelligence, and they said that so many people are worrying about the 10% that they have no control over that they forget about the 90% that they do have control over.
Mm. Well, that's pretty deep.
If
That's real
you
deep.
worried more about the 90% and you changed your life and you became 90% happy, it far outweighs that 10%, but they don't.
Mhm.
They worry about that 10%, and then that worrisome 10% combined with all of the other 90% makes you 100% miserable.
Right. Exactly. And that's, that you bring that up too, because I did that in one of my, I used to teach a communication course, and one of the communication course, it was talking about that with the verbal and nonverbal, like 10%. Like most of the time, people don't remember what you say, but they can remember how you made them feel.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying, with your nonverbals and how you communicate to others. So, um, yeah, and I was thinking of I was just had something on the tip of my tongue, and now I just kind of slipped my mind there.
So one thing that I always try to live by is my audio needs to match my visual. My
Mhm.
audio needs to match my video. Meaning, if I'm happy, I need to show that I'm happy. Because a lot of
Mhm.
times our nonverbals tell the story. They do.
Right. Right.
Our
Right.
nonverbals tell the story. If you're not
Exactly.
happy, then you're not going to show that you're happy. And the
Right.
emotions just don't lie.
Right. They don't. You know, just like what like you just said, like somebody can like you. A lot of times people read your, like you say, your nonverbals, You ever had that situation where you kind of felt like you had a bad day, but then you try to put on this smiling face, like you smile, and somebody say, what's wrong with
Oh yeah.
you? Like they can feel it, but you like nothing. But it's like they can feel
Yep.
what you feeling inside.
All the time.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I used to do that
Yeah.
all the time. All the time.
Yeah.
So the
And
show is
it's
all
and
about
oh, I was gonna
transformation. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, even with my book and dealing with domestic violence and dealing with psychological abuse, meaning verbal abuse, emotional abuse, that's so not talked about a lot. A lot of people, when they think of toxic relations, more or less the physical abuse, but emotional abuse is just as detrimental as that physical abuse. And a lot of people that go through that type of emotional abuse or psychological abuse from their partner, especially someone they love. It could be a family member. It's those they come out of that having those mixed feelings, where they come out because they've been used to walking on eggshell, used to trying to be happy for the other person, and then when they come out of that relationship, they don't really know how to trust themselves. So those are the people that I work with, and so strong, because I myself been there. It's like you gotta try to really look deep, to say, okay, am I faking this, or is this really, do I really believe this about myself? So it's just
Right.
building your own confidence back up, trusting yourself is, yes.
So true. So true. So the show is all about transformation. And we go through many transformations in life. But what is one transformation that comes to mind that put you on the path, that changed you, transformed you, and put you on the path to what you're doing today?
Yeah. I have to do one. Wow, I do have two that led me to this particular thing, and I'm just gonna share my story real quick, because I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2019. So in that, being going through that, being diagnosed with breast cancer in 2019, on top of that, being told around the same month that your kid's father, which was my ex, had died, had passed away.
Wow.
So going through breast cancer, and then having to get my children ready and prepared to go to their dad's funeral, which we're still young. He still was a young man. Um, it was hard, and that was a big transformation. Mind you, going through the divorce with him in 2005 was a epitome of big transformation of getting me to learn who am I and why am I here, and things like that. That also moved me to this place here. But the big straw was being told, diagnosed with breast cancer, on top of your kid's father is dead. So what transformed me the most and got me and birthed this book was when I was going through chemo treatment, and the doctor explained to me what chemo treatment is, how it goes through your body, what is it going to do, and they talked in all that doctor terms that I can't really say. But what I got out of it, and what he did say, is that the chemo that he's using, the particular type he's going to put in my body, is going to kill every cell. It's going to kill the bad cell as well as some of your good cells. That it would just
Right.
kill out, so that it can remove all of the cancer out, or hopefully get all of the cancer. So with that being said, I went through my first chemo treatment. I come home the next day. The first day you don't really feel, I didn't really feel much of it, because they steroid you up. I was all like kind of hyped up, like, wow, okay. But that next day, oh wow, that chemo really was going through. And so my transformation was me talking with God. I had my Bible and I had my pad, and I was writing, and God was speaking to me at that moment. And what he was telling me, yes, I was going through a lot, dealing with how am I going to get my kids, after my kids' funeral, went through their dad's funeral. I don't want my kids to not have a mom either. They don't have a dad. Now I'm not a mom. So going through all that led me, and I started reading my scripture. And the part that transformed everything and that I started to write this book was when the doctor, like I said, when the doctor said the chemo was killing every cell in your body, good and bad, God was telling me that I'm killing every generational curse, everything that hurt you, everything that you thought was you is not you. And
Wow.
I'm rebuilding you.
Wow.
And so that is what transformed me, because that's why I say you think like, oh, everything, this is tragic, this is bad. But when my belief, I trust and I believe, I know there's a higher power, there's a higher being. And God said,
Yep.
you
Yep.
are more than what you're going through. You're more than your circumstances. I put more in you. So as long as he kept waking me up, giving me breath to keep moving, that was more for my light to shine, more for me to do more to help someone else, to help others. So that was my transformation. Like I said, I was in my brokenness, going through my brokenness, but I was coming out a blossom. Like I was blossoming to this beautiful array of, flowers. Like I was like, wow, this is beautiful. And, even I talked to some of my family members, they're like, can't believe, like, oh my God, you're going through this, but you seem so happy, like you seem so this. And and it wasn't that I was happy of what I'm going through. It's just that I know whose I am. I know who has me.
Ooh,
And
that's good.
yeah, so that was my transformation.
Yeah, that's so good. I know whose I am. So good. So good. I had to learn a lot of self-love. And there's some things in your book that you talk about the value that you place on yourself. And then there's some stories that you use about the way that you feel or the way that you think about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a huge part of acceptance and overcoming, because you can't really accept what's outside of that, whatever, outside of, until you fix what's going on around you. I always say that you cannot fix the world if you cannot fix your mind.
Exactly.
Or your heart.
Right.
Whatever you have in you needs to be squared away, fixed, whatever. Because, like, we're all broken in some way. We're all broken. We can still function. It's that old saying, like, broken crayons color too. We can still color. Broken people, we can still color.
Exactly.
But it may not look good.
Right.
It may not look good.
It's kind of like that, I would say it's kind of like your lamp, like you have your lamp in your living room and it has 3 light bulbs, and you got 2 of the light bulbs shining, but only, the other one is not shining. So you're still functioning. You're still bringing out light, but imagine if you can fix that 3rd light, the brightness.
It's huge. Oh, it's so good. So you've taken your why and your transformational moments and packaged them together. How do you elevate the world around them?
That how I elevate the world around is that one is basically giving back to others, and letting and helping others to see their light, letting their light shine, letting their light shine through them, giving them the because someone gave back to me, like I was going through what I was going through, even when I didn't know how to ask for help. Someone came and offered that, like, so me being that one that can give back and help, because there's some people that just don't know who, like, giving them the resource. They don't know where to turn, where to look, who to go to. And that's me. I would like to be the inspiration to help others to be able to know you're not alone. You're not by yourself in this. And you do have a light that needs to be shined inside of you. It's just we got to get to that light. What you know what I'm saying, that's in there, that's buried. And that's me. I feel like I'm here to
Mm-hmm.
just my thing is I'll have to take it back to the 90s. My theme song that will bring me to what it is that song that was called We Are the World. When they did the We Are the
Okay.
World, I don't know if you remember that long. This showing my age probably, but that's it. We are the world. We are the ones to help others, to
Mm-hmm.
give them, show them that there is someone out there who cares.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that that's huge right now because of all the lockdowns and the mental health. Everything is just on the rise, and suicides are up over 100%. You're not alone.
Mhm.
There's no way that whatever you're going through, you're the first one to ever go through it. There's no way.
Right.
There's no way that
Exactly.
you felt some new feeling for the first time. There's no way that whatever situation you're in wasn't thought of long time ago. We're
Mhm.
talking 200 years. 200 years someone has had the same problem as you? In 200 years?
Exactly.
You give me a break.
Right. Right.
Right? Like, uh, don't evangelize your problems. Just fix them. That's the way I look at
Right.
it. Don't
Exactly.
don't tell everybody how much problems you got. This is what I got. This is what I'm fixing for this
Mhm.
problem.
Mhm. Exactly.
So, uh, so your book,
Mhm.
Free Heal Wounds. Tell us about it, why you wrote it, and where we can get it.
Yes. So my book, Break Free Heal Wounds, is just that. It's helping others to break free from those things that are holding you back, that are keeping you stuck. You know, there's more in you, and you like, dang, I keep running into the same thing. So that's what is there. And then to heal those wounds, it gives you like step by step strategies, techniques. One of the I think it's in chapter 14. I'm not sure, or no, maybe like 10, but one of them is the mindfulness, being able to sit quietly with yourself. There's an exercise in there, and to be able to do that, to sit quietly, even if it's starting off with 3 minutes, and that's a big thing. That's the first step in learning how to, self accept, because we in a world where everything around us is just spinning. Is going, and you kind of feel, I gotta go, I'm gonna miss something. But spending a little time with yourself, so that's in my book, and that is also in, helping you with healing those wounds that hold us back, those things that we tell ourselves, like you was talking about earlier about our mind. This book talks about that, of clearing your mind and listening to your inner voice and what it's telling you. Sometimes, I mean, our thoughts can be so contradicting to who we are, based on our experiences and the world, the life that we've been through. So the book, it goes through all that. It talks about my life, some of the experiences that I went through, and some of the thought process that I had and I had to overcome. It talks about, some of my dynamic family, the way I grew up, that also shaped me into the woman that I am today. So that's what the book speaks about, and it also gives you tips and strategies and help you to overcome your obstacles and things that are holding you back. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, practical advice. I love it. I love it.
Mhm.
I read these books and I'm okay, now what? Like what? Like, what do I do now?
Mhm.
But you gave it to them in the book. It's like, follow along, fill this out.
Right.
And I love that. Oh my God,
Right.
I love that so much.
Yes, because even like I'm gonna put, like my uncle, he said too. I'm gonna put him. He's mentioned that knowledge. We get knowledge. Like knowledge is something we know, we understand, but it is. I mean, we know it, but the understanding part is what we don't get. So it's like I can tell you something, and you like, oh yeah, yeah, I got that. But if you don't do it, then you didn't. That means you didn't understand it. You see what I'm saying? And I'm not saying everything that somebody needs to do, but I mean, if you saying, you come to me with a problem, you saying, hey, I got this problem. and I give you the solution. I tell you like, hey, this is what you need to do to get to where you're trying to get to, and you say, oh, okay, yeah, I know that, and you walk away. Well, if you don't apply that, you'll be right back to me tomorrow saying, hey, I got this problem, and I'm looking at you like, hey, I just gave you the solution. So, yeah, knowledge is one thing, but understanding that knowledge to be able to apply it is another thing.
Oh, 100%. They always say that knowledge is power. And I just don't believe knowledge is power. Knowledge is the gas.
Mhm.
Knowledge is
Right.
the potential. Because I can read every book on building an amazing business. But if I don't execute it, I'm severely lacking in the execution phase, I guess you could say.
Mhm.
If I'm going to read
Mhm.
something, I need to execute on it. I have to. I got to execute on something.
Right. Yeah. Because I've read so many books. I'm like you too. I've read so many books. Like you said, I can read it and I can have an epitome moment and like, oh my God, yes, I
Right.
got that, and then walk away and I'm still doing the same exact thing. And I'm like, 5 years later, I'll be like, oh yeah, I did read that before. why
Yeah.
Why didn't I do it then?
That's
Yeah.
eventually I'll get to a point where it's just it's starting, but it's just natural to be positive, natural to ask great questions,
Mhm.
be grateful. Like it'll come. I'm patient. It'll come, but man, I had to break free. And anybody who's been in an abusive relationship knows 2 years later, when you've broken free and you've gotten out of that relationship, you feel so much
Mhm.
better with your
Right.
mind, your body, your soul, everything. You
Mhm.
feel better.
Exactly.
And you feel like my life is finally on track.
Mhm. Right. Yep, and like you said,
So,
you break free, and just because you break free, there, you need to heal. You need to heal because it's not a easy process, especially if it's been something that's all you know. Now you need to get the tools that you need to make sure that you can heal, so that you're not falling back into that same trap again with just a different face, a different body,
yep.
a different person.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And it's a trap. You
Mhm.
get caught in those traps real fast. And you
Yes.
talk about those in your book. You
Yes.
talk about falling back into them. Yep.
Mhm.
I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah, I loved reading your book. I spent a lot of
Thank
time
you.
formatting the book. I spent a
Yes,
lot of
you
time
did.
formatting it. So I had to
Ex-
read it like 5 or 6 times. you know?
Yes, you did. You
Uh,
did. And I appreciate all your patience. Yes.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I always have fun doing that stuff. I learn just as much as someone learns from me. You know,
Mhm.
I learned a couple things along the way. I was like, oh, okay, let me try that. Let me see how it works. But I
Right.
love the way you wrote the book because it's practical in real time. You ask
Mhm.
questions and then give them lines in the book to write their answers. It's in the book.
Right.
So now we got a workbook that's going to come out with your book
Yes.
very soon, and we'll launch
Mhm.
that as well. So you get the book and a workbook that you can
Mhm.
work through. So
Yes.
I'm really excited about that, and and yeah, you talk about narcissism in your book,
Mhm. Yes, and that's a
and you
big
talk
one.
about you talk about
Mhm.
it in action, like what it looks like, which
Mhm.
I don't think a lot of people have done unless you wrote a book on narcissism.
Right. Right. And being that it's funny because being that narcissism is, I mean, that's something big. I mean, that's all you're hearing a lot about and things like that. And more than likely, somebody, 1 out of 5 people probably encountered a narcissistic personality person, but they just have never been diagnosed with it. But they have all the 14 symptoms that the DSM-5 says they have. We don't look at it as. I mean, some of us grew up with a parent that was narcissist, so we're used to that
Right.
behavior. We don't look at it as like what it's a mental disorder. We just look like, oh,
Yeah.
that's just Uncle Sylvester or whoever,
Yeah.
or
Oh, that's
that's
just how he is. Whatever.
yeah,
It's crazy, crazy Uncle Eddie, or what?
right.
That's just how he is. Well, well, that's what everybody says. Well, it's just him. Like, you gotta know him. It
Mhm.
doesn't seem like anybody really wants to know him because he's rather mean, you know.
Right.
So, 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 what's your message for the listeners? As we start to close the show, what's your message for the listeners listening right now?
Well, my message for the listeners that's listening would be, and my first introduction in the book is to ask those three questions. And those three questions that I like to ask my listeners, and to really dig deep and to find those answers for themselves. One is, are you living the life you want to live? And then two, do you feel you are who you are meant to be? And then three, do you wake up feeling like you are your best self? So leaving the message is to really having people to look within. A lot of times we look outside of ourselves to find answers, and our answers, everything you need is within yourself. If we take the time to look within and to really, um, really hone into what it is, who we are and who we want to be, finding that true, your true authentic self.
Oh yeah, yeah. Authenticity is so huge because now, I mean, with social media, you're gonna get smoked out, and people are gonna find out fast.
Oh
People are
yes.
gonna start finding you out.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly. It's amazing because with, like you said, with social media, it's funny because I mean people post all these great pictures. Oh, they post everything like they're living the life, and then you can see them in person or talk to them, and they're crying their eyes out that they're so depressed or this or that. But wait a minute, just yesterday you said you was this. So it's like, yeah, it's like really, and that's fine if that's your life. No one is knocking what you do, but it's really to, because who cares what you do? At the end of the day, it's gonna, you are the one that has to live with you. You the one that's gonna look in the mirror at yourself. So you need
Yep.
to be honest with you. If anything, being honest with who you are.
Oh my gosh, yes. And again, acceptance. It comes down to acceptance,
Mhm.
right? You have
Right.
to accept. I mean, I love the questions, right? Are you living the life you want to live? So accept where you are. You don't have to like it,
Mhm.
but you have to accept. Like, here's my starting point.
Right.
Here I am, right here. This is my starting point, and then accept. Like, I accept where this is.
Right.
Who do I want to become? Where do I want to go? Like, what's the end? What's the having the end in mind? I always start at the end. What's the end in mind?
Mhm.
And that
Right.
is another massive tip. Where do you want to go? What do you want to
Mhm.
be doing? Who do you want to be with? What kind of person do you want to be? Start
Right.
making those changes towards those, whatever your answers are. Start
Exactly.
making a change towards those questions and the answers that came. So, with
Mhm.
that, Serena, I am so excited and congratulations on your success. I am super pumped that you had an amazing launch. You wrote an amazing book, well deserved success that you're getting. If everybody right now listening goes to Amazon and searches Break Free Heal Wounds, you will see Dr. Serena Patterson's new book, Break Free Heal Wounds. It's available right now on Amazon. Everybody that is in the show notes, either live or on your favorite podcast platform, you can just click on the little Amazon hyperlink right there. Click on that. It'll take you to the book. Go get the book. If you know somebody who has experienced domestic violence, a trauma, self defeating behaviors of any kind, negativity, Break Free Heal Wounds, the book. Go get it right now. Serena, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Life Transformation Radio listeners, an amazing guest impacting the world around her. If anything's resonated with our conversation today on Life Transformation Radio with author Dr. Serena Patterson, please reach out to her via her website or social media. Go buy her book, Break Free Wounds. You can buy 1 copy for yourself, 4 copies as a gift, and gift them out for the holidays. As I close the show, I always say, live your brand. Find opportunities every day to live out the core values that you hold deep in your heart. And I call this living your brand. So until next episode, live an amazing life. And don't forget to subscribe to Life Transformation Radio.